Hello everyone, welcome back. I've just played several games with this deck and I'm having an absolute blast. It works so well and it's incredible how smooth it runs. I'm really excited to showcase to you a very unique deck from the Lord of the Rings universe that mostly revolves around enchantment sagas. I've been planning this for a long time, but it was really difficult to figure out how to build the best Tom Bombadil block deck, because we are talking about a deck that is pure and unique, consisting only of Lord of the Rings cards to create a perfect Tom Bombadil themed experience. One of my subscribers, Jeffrey, wrote in the comments about this list of Lord of the Rings decks, and I noticed that one of them was a Tom Bombadil block deck, so I immediately recreated it in Arena with a few minor changes because I was missing 2 wildcards, but I think those changes worked out pretty well. So let's talk a little bit about Tom Bombadil. In MTG they didn't focus on the movies but on the books, and Tom Bombadil is one of the most mysterious, unusual and enigmatic figures in the entire Lord of the Rings universe. He is as mighty as Sauron, or perhaps even more powerful, and possibly even more powerful than the wizards like Gandalf and Saruman. Very little is known about him. As far as I remember from the books, he's almost a godlike being. So you can see, like, we have here Tom Bombadil, we have to pay all the colors in Magic, and then it states here God Bard, legendary creature. When the hobbits leave the Shire, Frodo, Sam, Merry and Pippin, Tom Bombadil saves them twice. First from the Old Man Willow, the malicious ancient tree, and later from the barrow waits in the burial mounds. Tom calls himself the Eldest and says that he already existed before humans, elves and even before Morgoth, that was the master of Sauron. He's not human, not elf, not Maya and not Valar, at least not in any clear or defined way. He seems to be some kind of ancient nature spirit or primordial being of Arda. In a way, he's as old as the world itself. And the most interesting part is that the One Ring has no power over Tom Bombadil. In fact, it's more accurate to say that Tom Bombadil has power over the ring. Tom can put the ring on without being invisible, make it disappear and reappear at will, and he shows absolutely no interest in it. He lives there with his wife Goldberry, who is the river woman's daughter, a mythical elf-like being deeply connected to water, nature and the changing seasons. So let's talk about the strategy of this deck. You know guys, it's never easy for a block deck to handle multiple matchups, especially when it's a 5-color deck. But surprisingly, with the right cards available in the set, it's actually quite easy to play. I will explain it more about it in a moment. First, let's talk about Tom Bombadil. This creature is one of the most fun cards in the game, and it has an outstanding, truly unique ability. Even its mana cost makes it special. Tom Bombadil is a legendary creature, a god bard. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. Whenever the final chapter ability of the saga you control resolves, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. You put that card directly on the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn. By the time we cast Tom Bombadil, we usually already have plenty of enchantment sagas on the battlefield, since they tend to stay around for a quite while. Because of that, Tom will almost always have hexproof and indestructible. And once a saga finishes, Bombadil simply brings the next one into play, and the variety of sagas is what makes this deck so much fun. Every single one plays differently and each game feels completely unique. His wife Goldberry is a wonderful complementary addition. She only costs 2 mana and she allows us to remove a lower counter from a saga we control. This means we can trigger certain saga abilities a second time. For example, we have here War of the Last Alliance. We can actually trigger this one more time, search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it and put it onto your hand, then shuffle. For example, if we will lose of course Tom Bombadil, we can search one more time for this creature, or we also can search for Aragorn, the Unitor. Actually we have pretty a lot of options. We have also Arvent, Mortal Queen, Gloin, Dwarf Emissary. So yeah, we have plenty of choice here. For example, we can also use Book of Mother Bull. Here we can also take one lore counter and put it on Goldberry, and then for example we will have MS Orcs 2 again, so in the end we will have an orc token with power 5 and toughness 5. Let me see what we can also do here. Actually, we can also use put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. We can trigger this one more time, and for example, here we can also search a second time, search your library for a mountain card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Actually, we can also remove the lore counter from the first step. Here we can also use it up to 1 target creature can't block for as long as you control the saga, the ring tempts you. And also here, draw 2 cards, then discard the card, also an amazing enchantment saga, so it will trigger one more time and we can draw more cards. And yeah, what else do we have here? We have here gain control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control the saga, so we can also remove 1 lore counter and then have 2 we can also have 2 artifacts that we can control here. Also, we can tap up to 2 target creatures, we can just do it twice. The counter that Goldberry receives can later be distributed to any other creature, and we also draw a card, which is just amazing value. In a multicolored deck like this, of course, we can't forget Aragorn. He has also 4 colors, and his future wife Arwen, Mortal Queen. Aragorn is an absolutely insane card in this deck because of the variety of colors we are playing. Each color triggers a different ability, scrying, giving +4/+4, dealing 3 damage to the opponent, or creating a 1/1 token. Then we have Arwen, who comes with an indestructible counter for just 1 mana. We can easily protect our other creatures by moving that counter around. To make sure we always have the right mana, we need creatures that help fix us our cars. To make sure we always have the right mana, we need creatures that help fix our colors. Here we have Delighted Halfling, an amazing card for just 1 mana. Yeah, add 1 colorless mana, or we can also add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a legendary spell, and then this is the best part, and that spell can't be countered. Then we have also for 2 mana the Woe's Pathfinder, also add 1 mana of any color, that's also an amazing card. And then of course both we have 4 copies of each. We also run Glowing Dwarf Emissary in this deck, who creates a tapped treasure token whenever we cast a historic spell, and that's very easy to trigger since enchantment sagas are historic cards. Thanks to these creatures, casting Aragorn and the Unitor and Tom Bombadil actually is pretty easy. But there's another magical ingredient in this recipe, a cheap artifact that lets us cast our spells earlier in the game, is the Wizard Rockets. This card is just amazing. For 1 mana, we have the tools from Gandalf from the first part, the Wizard Rockets. We simply put all the mana we have into it, shake the box, and get exactly the color combination we need. The only downside is that it enters the battlefield tapped, so we have to wait until the next turn to use it. We also run a single instant spell, Tom Bombadil's Song. Here we have for 2 mana, which helps protect our creatures from being destroyed. For example, if we don't have Arwen with the indestructible counter, then we actually can use also Bombadil's Song and protect maybe Goldberry or Aragorn or Tom Bombadil. Now let's move on to the spicy part of the deck, the enchantment sagas. We run a total of, I think, let me count here, 3, 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. We have 15 enchantment sagas in this deck with 7 different ones. The cheapest one is the Fall of Gil-galad for just 2 mana. Its first chapter is great because it lets us cry 2, which is perfect for planning our next turn in a deck with so much color variety. The final chapter can also be very useful, especially for dealing with flying creatures. At 3 mana we have 2 sagas. The first one is the Book of Mother Bull, here the red one. We create an army token using a mass, then we have Scroll of Isildur. We gain control of an artifact as long as the saga remains on the battlefield, which usually means stealing mana producing artifacts. I mean, since we are playing historic, there are so many opponents using artifacts to cast even bigger spells and creatures, of course. So this is very useful. And then tap up to 2 target creatures, put a stun counter on each of them, and the last one, draw a card for each tapped creature target opponent controls. So we will draw even more cards here. This also combos really nicely with Goldberry, for example, where we can remove the lore counter and just do it again. If the opponent is playing very aggressively, we have the One Ring to Rule Them All 2 copies, which destroys all non-legendary creatures and small tokens. Then we have the Bath Song, where we can draw 2 cards, then we'll discard a card and then shuffle any number of target cards from your graveyard into your library, and then we can also produce 2 blue mana. Actually, we can also shuffle some enchantment sagas that are already in the graveyard back to the library. And then we have also War of the Last Alliance is a very great card, because here we can search for Aragorn and Tom Bombadil. If they get removed, we can just reset the saga with Goldberry and search again, even a 3rd time actually if we need it. And the last one is There and Back Again, also a great card, because here we can also produce Smog, the dragon from the Hobbit. But yeah, first, up to 1 target creature can block for as long as you control this saga. The ring tempts you. The second one is search your library for a mountain card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. And the last one, create Smog, a legendary 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying haste. And when Smog dies, that's pretty funny, create 14 treasure tokens. Yeah, but unfortunately here we cannot see the Smog. Oh yeah, actually we can. Yeah, here we have the legendary token. By the way, it's a legendary token. A dragon, a 6/6 creature, and here we have actually only the page from the book The Hobbit. When Smog dies, create 14 treasure tokens. Very funny. So as you can see, guys, actually it's pretty easy to cast those creatures like Tom Bombadil with the help of those tiny creatures that produces mana, also some creatures that produces treasure tokens, and of course we have wizards, rockets, and you will see in the matches that it's pretty easy to cast those creatures. Then we have to see the lands. We have 5 islands, 1 swamp, 2 mountains, 8 forests, of course, because of the Delighted Halfling, and Woe's Pathfinder, the Shire. And this one is also a great card in this deck, helps us to cast those spells. Very easy. Great Hall of the Citadel. Actually, it gives us just colorless mana, but for 1 mana, if we pay, we tap it, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast legendary spells. So you can see, actually, if we missing just 1 mana, we can also convert that mana into a mana that we need. So as you can see, also we don't have white mana, but it's not a problem. As I said, like, because of the Lighted Halfling that also can cast Arven, for example, and other spells. Yeah, you will see. I'm so excited to show you this deck, and yeah, it's so much fun, I can guarantee you this. So yeah, actually I didn't put any in the sideboard, but we can just do it right away. I think there is just one more that I would like to put it there. So here we have it. It's the Sagas, right? So we will have even some, for example, Oath of the Grey Host, so we can also create 3 tapped 1/1 white spirit tokens, why not? And which one we are also missing? Tale of Tinuviel. Wow, so actually then we have all the enchantment sagas. I think, yeah, why not? We will also put Long List of Dance, although maybe we'll never use that. And what else? Maybe 1 more copy of One Ring to Rule Them All and 1 copy of Scroll of Isildur. Yeah, because for 3 mana, this can be also a game changer, because when we steal the artifacts from the opponent, especially those ones that are producing mana. So you can see this is a very unique deck. I was looking forward for a long time to create the Tom Bombadil, and now we have it, and yeah, you will see it's a great deck. And yeah, I hope also you like the story about this creature. So yeah, I would say let's play some games.